The last video was fairly serious. There just wasn't anything I found really funny about the situation, and for the record, I don't just want music in the now to be a news show. However, I don't want to just ignore this either. So Spotify is making changes to their platform. Minimum amount of plays before songs can make royalties, minimum amount of time non-tracks need to be played before making money, and also they're raising the price for their premium, which surprises nobody. The third one isn't important. All companies are doing that. We at multi-billion-dollar corporate entity are struggling with you during these hard times. Because of this, we are forced to raise our price onto our customer. Please help support us during these trying times. First one is obviously just to cut off any kind of profits that aren't going to the record industry's pets. By restricting the hundreds of thousands of dollars potentially paid to artists outside the system, they can move it towards themselves and back to the record industry. Even better, since a lot of these artists are probably independent, we can restrict the flow of money on Spotify to only the highest signed artists, isolating and consolidating the cash flow to the monopolies further. And plus, like all massive corporations who want infinite control, they're vague enough they can decide who gets to lose their income. YouTube does it the same way, and I'm betting their business model is what Spotify is eyeing down. I mentioned in my previous video music was mostly profitable to 4 people. Turns out I wasn't wrong, and the music industry is doing that. I hate that I was partially right. The second one is Spotify's weird war on ambient and noise music. To be fair, many people don't consider this real music because it's made by people for reasons other than profit, such as mood and fun. How dare those bastards not conform to this society of jackasses? For the record, ambient and noise music are still music. Doesn't matter how unmusical they are because they don't follow rules made by early European aristocrats. It is music as long as people can play it like music, dance to it like music, and have it in the background like music. However, this is mostly just another way for Spotify to push out what they consider undesirable artists, because ambient and noise are both easy and hard to make. Easy as in it doesn't really take that much time to make them, it may not matter how you make it, but hard in the sense that it does matter you aren't Spotify making it. I remember they tried to add their own ambient songs on a playlist, which people quickly caught on were just self-produced tosh inserted in their playlist. I think they're just mad they can't be let in because ambient and noise artists somehow have standards. They claim it's non-musical because of how much is probably on the platform and they want it off. The less options for the peasants, I mean wonderful audience, the more they will pivot to the same 4 goddamn artists and Bad Bunny more like Good Bunny. We all know what will come of this. If Netflix increases their price, then all the streaming services do. Not because it's good for competition, but because they can, and as long as they all do it, they all get more money anyway. We're under their mercy and they know it. If Spotify were to make it that you have to be this tall to make royalties, the other streaming services will just look at this and think, oh, we'll do that too. Both because it makes them more money in the long end, and because Spotify is the big dog and they will always do what the big dog do. Don't believe me? Hey, tech nerds, listen up. Remember the headphone jack? In 2016, upon releasing the new iPhone, Apple removed the headphone jack, claiming most people didn't need it. They followed it up with the Air_pods, basically saying, hey dumb fuck, use these and give us your money. We know you're stupid enough to do it anyway. Shortly after, Samsung did it next because Apple did it, and they knew as long as they did it, Apple wouldn't undo it. Even the Pixel has no jack. It's not hard to add one, doesn't cost too much money. Wireless headphones are not repairable. They eventually die, they don't sound as good as if they break even slightly, and there's a fucking delay between it and the source known as the gaping void. The only people who enjoy the headphone jack being taken away are people who go along with anything Apple does. Look where that got us. We kicked up a fuss, said fuck off, and they made fun of it. They still removed it because they can. Unrelated, but Spotify's not that far off. The same people who use Spotify will always use it because it's the biggest service with the biggest artists. And the headphone jack was just that, a headphone jack. Removing it isn't risking the career of small artists who just don't want to make mainstream slop for monopoly labels who take all the money. Many have criticized Spotify's dogshit rates already, as the company is much bigger and isn't hurt financially. Apple Music, in fact, has worse rates. YouTube Music also has bad rates. That's because the record industry went out of their way to make sure the rates were small, so that way they would always have the money. The other streaming services did this both because the record industries made them, but also because it made it better for large artists and dogshit for small artists. Spotify is just continuing to make the plight of independent artists worse. Right after Bandcamp got bought, I thought I was being a bit extreme in my last video, but maybe I should stop thinking. That doesn't make enough money after all.